Hi guys, welcome to another Barb Stamps video. This video is going to be about the Carols of Christmas bundle that's available for purchase August 1st. It's an item that's going to be in our upcoming holiday catalog, which will be released September 1st. And the bundle includes the Carols of Christmas stamp set and the card front builder Thinlits. Now, the card that we're going to make in today's video is this one, using some glossy white paper and a kind of a cool technique. And then we're going to use a couple of the dies from the set, and the stamps are actually from another set, but I wanted to kind of show you how these dies work. The set of dies has 11 dies in it. So we'll start off with this die here. This die crops out a moon and some stars and some diamonds, and then this is what it looks like when it's on your card front. So you would die cut that, and then whatever you place it on, the color is going to shine through the back, so you can really see all the detail of the dies there, which I think is going to be pretty cool. These two kind of border edge dies, these two dies are like a corner die, and this is what they will cut out for you. So again, if you put it on something lighter, you will get the poinsettias cut out with some leaves and then some little dots, and that's just kind of cool too. Also, with the stamp set, you'll see that we have a poinsettia here along with some holly berries and some leaves, and those also have dies here in the set. The leaf here, the holly berry leaves here, and then this die here will cut out the stamped poinsettia flower. So here I've got a couple of those things done. Whoops. So I stamped a couple of the poinsettia flowers, which is this little guy right here, and then I stamped some of the leaves and the holly berries, and then I just cropped them out and glued them together. Okay, we also have this adorable deer. So we've got the die and we've got the stamp to make a cute little Bambi for the front of your cards. We've got these two tree dies, and I did use those on this card here. So here's the larger one, and then here's the dual smaller trees that I've got on the front of my card here. And then we've also got these little ornament dies that coordinate with the two ornament stamps in the stamp set. So you can stamp these ornaments on your project like I did on this card. So I stamped the full images, and then I stamped them again on scraps by inking them up with my markers. And so then I cropped out, using the dies, a few of the ornaments to pop those up. And so you can kind of see the dimension there that those will give your card. And I did use the mini Stampin' dimensionals to adhere those ornaments to the card. They're the perfect size for that. And then lastly, we've got this kind of edge border die that we're going to use to make this card today. So you can see I laid it on my project once, like so. Ran it through the Big Shot, flipped it around on my same piece of paper, and ran it through again. You might be thinking, well, gosh, how do you line that up? It's so simple. These little tiny dots right here that are in the center of the image are actually on the edges of the die. So you can see these two little dots right here on both sides of the die. So the first time I ran it through was no problem. I just lined it up on the edges on the top, ran it through. And then when I brought it through again, I laid it on so that these little dots kind of hooked into the dots that were already die cut. And that way it just helped me run it through again and get the perfect placement. We're going to put these things away. I'm going to get out the supplies to make this card, and I'll be right back. Okay, I've got my Big Shot in here with my platform, my precision base plate. I've got a 4 by 5 1/4 inch piece of glossy white cardstock, and I'm just going to start by placing the die so that it's like equal distance on the two sides as it is from the top. I'm going to cover that with a clear cutting plate. Now this is a brand new one. I find that if I have pads that have a lot of cutting marks on them, that it will kind of transfer to the glossy white, so I don't want to do that. So I'm just going to use a brand new cutting plate, and we'll just run this through the Big Shot here. Okay, whoops, remove that. The die just kind of fell right off there. So what we're left with is these little strips and these little corner pieces. I'm just going to get a little piercing tool here, and I'm just going to pop these guys out. And they just come out fairly easily. I could have used my foam mat, but it's on the other side of my stamp room, and I don't feel like going to get it. So laziness kicks in right now. All right, so I'm going to make sure that I get those little tiny holes poked out. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring my die back And I'm going to lay it on my card, and I'm going to place it so that those two sets of dots like click in there. So like the dots just kind of fall into place in those holes that are already there. Okay, and then I'll run that through again. Place my cutting pad on the top. And run that through. Okay, take the die off, and you can see that it's dang near perfect. So that's my little trick on using this die. Finish poking these things out, clean up my Big Shot mess, and be right back. Cleaned up my mess, I'm back, and now I'm going to do some stamping. So I've got a couple of snowflake stamps that come to us from the Colorful Seasons stamp set. So I'm using these two snowflakes right here. I'm using my Versamark ink pad, and I'm just going to kind of do some random stamping with these large snowflakes. And now when you are stamping on glossy cardstock, you do need to be a little bit careful because the stamps can slide around on you, and then your image will get smeared. So just do it with purpose. And then I also need to kind of bring the card up to me so I can see where I've already stamped an image, so I don't stamp over the same image. Whoops. Because I can sort of see with the flicker of the light where I've already stamped these little guys. Boy, I am just butterfingers today. Holy cow. Can't keep a hold of anything to save my life. Okay, so we've got those on there. Now I'm going to cover them with some white Stampin' Emboss powder. Okay. So I'll just shake this powder all over the front of the card, trying to cover all my snowflakes. And I'm using a little tray here to catch my mess. And this way I'll also be able to tell if I want to add any more snowflakes. And I think that I might want to over here in the on the side kind of. So I need to tap off the excess there, and I think I'm going to do a big one. So we're just going to stamp it about right there. Okay, bring our powder back in, shake that off, get that covered up as best we can. Oh, maybe right down here at the bottom we need something. Sometimes when you're stamping with the Versamark on white paper, it's a little more difficult to see what you're doing. So, all right, flick off all that excess. And then I'm going to bring in my heat tool and we will get this melted. All right, I've got my heat tool here, so I think I'm going to speed the video up so that you don't have to wait through the whole thing and listen to the heat tool. So here we go. Okay, so my phone rang and I had to answer it, and when I got back from answering the phone, I forgot to turn the video on. So I completed the entire card, skipping this portion of it on the video. The video was turned off when I tried to show you how to do the coloring on this piece. So we're going to pick up right here. I've made a new piece. I've die cut it. I've stamped all the snowflakes. I've embossed them. They're ready to be colored. So we're going to work with this piece for this portion of the video, and then I'm going to insert this to the rest of the video, and then we'll move on. But I wanted to show you this. I've got 3 ink colors out here. I've got Soft Sky, Marina Mist, and Pacific Point. I've got sponge daubers for each one, and we're going to go ahead and color this. So I'm going to zoom in. We're going to start with the Soft Sky first, so I'm going to ink it up just a little bit, and I always like to tap it off just a tad, just because I don't want to have too much ink. You can always add more. It's very difficult to get rid of ink. So I'm kind of almost covering the whole piece, leaving some areas open, being careful where I did the die cutting so that I don't rip those pieces. So I'm just going to kind of lay down a bluish foundation here. It's not completely perfect, but it is light. Then we're going to move on to the Marina Mist. Same thing, tap it in there, tap it off once, maybe twice, depending on how much ink you end up getting on it. And I try to start with the snowflakes first. And then as you feel, if you feel like you have too much ink, like I just did, I'm tapping it off a little bit because I don't want too much. You can always add more. Get these snowflakes a little bit colored in, kind of hit the bottom here and the side, opposite side here. So we just added a little bit of Marina Mist. I'm going to come back in with my soft sky and kind of blend that Marina Mist in a little bit more so it's not so drastic. Okay, then my last one, oh, sorry for the glare, is going to be the Pacific Point. Again, it's a dark color, so I'm going to pounce off some of the ink. And then I'm just going to lightly rub this over some of these areas, adding some of the ink. And then I'm going to come back in, and like I said, if you think you have too much ink, please get rid of it. You don't need to have too much. And I'm going to come back in with my soft sky dauber, and I'm going to blend this some more. This Pacific Point. Because it's glossy cardstock, so it doesn't dry quite as quickly as Whisper White does. Bring in a little more of the soft sky. Tone some of those down where I maybe got a little bit too much Pacific Point. But you get the gist of what I'm doing here. Try to make sure all of it has some color. Maybe a tiny bit of Marina Mist in some of these corners. And that is how I did that. So you end up with this really cool looking background piece. And zoom out just a little bit, and that's how you do it. So now we will continue with the rest of the video. All right, our next step is to make a ribbon knot to go around this part of the card. And I'm going to use my Stampin' Mist bottle and some of our new metallic edged ribbon, and this is the silver. And I'm just going to tie a knot. So if you are not sure how to tie nice knots, check it out. I'll zoom in. So I've got my end in my left hand and the rest of the ribbon in my right hand. So I'm going to pull the ribbons so they're kind of like crossing, sort of like this. I'm going to take the left over the right, and the left is going to continue under. Okay. Then I'm going to kind of twist the right, like flip it up, so that when I pull it taut, you get a nice flat center here. Okay. Then I'm going to bring the what's left on the spool here to the front. Take that end piece over the top of it, under and through the hole, and then I'm only going to pull on the right side, the one in my right hand. Okay. When I get my nice knot, I will remove it from the bottle, and then I will continue to manipulate it if it needs to be fixed at all, which this one turned out pretty dang good, so we're good. All right, we'll trim this off the roll, and that way you don't have to use a lot of excess ribbon either. Cut the two ends so they're going the same direction, and I think that looks good. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is I want my ribbon knot to be over towards the side here, so I'm just going to cut this maybe about an inch or so. And I'm going to slide that through one of the edges here, these little die cut sections that I did. Slide the other piece through the other one, and then I'm going to adhere them to the back of the card. Where's my snail? Here we go. It's always right in front of you, but you just can't see it. It just seems to happen all the time. Okay, so I'm going to bring this one taut, pull this one, and stick it down. Okay, so we've got our ribbon knot on there. I've got my two trees die cut out of silver foil sheets. I'm going to kind of tuck them down underneath the ribbon. So this dual set here, I'm actually going to cut that because they're a little bit too long. So I'm basically just going to cut them right to the edge where they're connected together, and then they're going to slide right down in there. And since I'm working with glossy paper here on the front, I'm actually going to use my liquid glue. Whoops, I stuck on my hand, for heaven's sakes. Okay, and then the large tree, same thing, a little bit of liquid glue on there. Slide that just under the knot so it's larger, like so. And then my final little trick, I've got a strip of cardstock here, some soft sky, and I have a greeting out of our Santa's Sleigh stamp set. It says Merry Christmas Wishes. And I'm going to use some Island Indigo ink. Ink up that greeting. Stamp it here on the edge of my strip. My strip, by the way, is a 1/2 inch wide. Oops, I screwed that up. I need some room to make a banner end. Good thing the paper has 2 sides, right? Okay, so there we have our greeting. Okay, and I'm going to bring my scissors in here and make a flagged end. So I just kind of come in from the center and then from both sides. There we go. And I'm going to glue that right here across the front. There's my mess up back there. About like so. And then I'm just going to snip it off. My ink out of the way so I don't make a big mess, because I tend to do that quite frequently. And then this layer I'm going to attach to some Island Indigo, so I'll squirt some glue here in the middle. And then I'll kind of carefully go around the edge here with the glue, catching all the edges. Just a really skinny bead of glue here. I don't want a whole bunch because I don't want it to squirt out all over the place. And then I cut my layer of Island Indigo just a tiny bit bigger, so it's 4 1/8 by 5 3/8. Okay. And then for my final piece, I've got a layer of thick Whisper White here. This is one of my favorite things to use for card bases. Bring in some Stampin' Dimensionals here. Ugh, boy, my fingers just are buttery today, I think. Hey, while we're sitting here talking, if you enjoyed what I showed you today, thumbs up the video. You know how much I love that. Helps me know if what I'm doing you like, or if you don't like it. And then I can make better videos if I need to. Okay, so I'm blind, and so I'm having a hard time seeing white on white. We're hoping that it's centered. I think it is. Okay, and that is our card today with a glossy white cardstock technique using our new Thinlits, the card front builder Thinlits, along with the Carols of Christmas stamp set. I do have another card I can show you that I made. This one's using the large Peace on Earth stamp in the stamp set, and I just inked it up with my markers in the Cherry Cobbler Garden Green and the Crumb Cake. And then this little kind of star stamp, I did kind of go all the way around the thing, die cut it with some of my ovals. You can see I did use that border, the same one that we used here on this card. I just used a little part of it to do the edge. And then I've got some of our Designer Series paper here. It's the Be Merry Designer Series paper. This is in the big book, so you can get some Christmas paper right now if you need it. Got some fun patterns on here. Good for Christmas. And so that's another card that I used, some nice garden green satin trim ribbon. Stitched satin ribbon, excuse me. I love that stuff. All right, so we are done with our card. I have thoroughly enjoyed making this card with you guys today. I hope you enjoyed it too. If you want to be notified when I upload videos, subscribe down here in the corner. And then I'm going to put a little thing over here on the side where you can look at some more of my videos if you want to be inspired. If you need any supplies, you can get them at shoppingwithbarb.com. Like I said, this bundle will be available August 1st. And subscribe, then you will be notified when I upload new videos. And as always, have a wonderful day.